Good evening. My name is Carla Gutierrez, and I'm honored to be the president of La Coalición de Latinos Unidos de Lake County, also known as Latino Coalition. I would like to welcome you all to the Waukegan Park District Commissioners Candidate Forum. Thank you for being here. It is great to have you all join and hear more about the candidates. To our candidates, thank you for agreeing to participate and telling us more about what you each hope to offer. We look forward to a respectful and informative dialogue on a topic we know is of great importance. I would like to take this opportunity to express my appreciation to our wonderful programming committee for organizing this event and volunteering their time and efforts. I'm truly thankful for you all and your contributions. I'm now honored to introduce Karina Martinez, a member of both our executive board and a programming committee, who will be moderating today's event.
Thank you, Carla. Welcome everyone to this evening's event, Meet the Candidates for the Waukegan Park District Board, hosted by the Coalición Latinos Unidos de Lake County, also known as the Latino Coalition. My name is Karina Martinez, Secretary on the Coalición's Board of Directors and community member, and very excited to be today's moderator. Today we are joined by 3 candidates running for the Waukegan Park District Commissioner seat. We would like to thank our candidates for joining us today. The purpose of this event is to learn more about the candidates running for the Waukegan Park District Board of Commissioners, why they are running, and the role of the Park District in the community. Thank you to all of you for tuning in from home. Please feel free to send questions via Facebook Live. We have allotted time for these questions at the end of the forum. To give everyone an idea of the format of tonight's event, during the first part of the forum, candidates will introduce themselves and the platform. Candidates will have 2 minutes, and we will let you know when you have 30 seconds left to wrap up your statements, and I will put up a piece of paper at 30 to give you time to collect your thoughts. The second part of the forum will be more specific questions to get to know the role of Park District Commissioner, followed by questions to get to know each individual candidate a little bit better. Towards the end of the forum, we will be asking questions from the community collected from our live audience watching from Facebook. So now, with that said, we can get started. We can start in opposite alphabetical order by last name, and then alternate. Again, each candidate will have 2 minutes. So Andy, if you can get us started, share your name and why you are running.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Karina and Carla, and thank you to the Latino Coalition for hosting this event tonight. We really appreciate having the platform to let people meet all of us. I'm Andy Zakeski-Marr. I have lived in Waukegan for over a decade. I'm proud to call Waukegan home and own a home there. I bring over 30 years of professional management experience to the board. Most importantly, the previous 21 years I've been working for a North Shore public school system where, as the information technology manager, I have had the opportunity to really strengthen my professional skills in the areas of project management, especially around information technology planning, budgeting, forecasting, program design, implementation, and evaluation. So I've done work professionally where I have had to work with a really broad stakeholder group and get everyone's input and find out what everyone really wants out of a project, and then really work on leveraging the project so that it meets the goals and the needs of all of the different stakeholders. And in a diverse community, that's a really big challenge because everyone does have different goals and expectations. So I've worked over the past 21 years in this role in information technology in the educational setting. As far as serving the community, for the past decade, I've had a variety of opportunities that I've really been enriched by. I started off helping at the public library with the homework help program, and I found that to be incredibly rewarding. I found out about ASEs, and I started to work with them in their citizenship workshops, helping families complete their paperwork to complete the process of becoming citizens. And then finally, working with North Chicago Community Partners in their after-school program, working with at-risk youth in their therapeutic sort of after-school program. So I'm really invested into Waukegan, the people of Waukegan. I care a lot about them, and I really hope that my role as commissioner can represent really everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Anton?
Good evening. Thank you, Board President Gutierrez, Secretary Martinez, as well as the entire board for having all of us here this evening. I look forward to a robust discussion. My name is Anton Matthews, and I'm running for Waukegan Park Board. I'm born and raised here. I embrace Waukegan's diversity. I'm just excited just for this opportunity to speak with each and every one of you this evening. And a little bit about myself is that I am a mentor for young boys ages 8 through 12. In addition, I also serve on multiple community boards, including the Waukegan Parks Foundation, president of the CLC Advisory Board, as well as former past president of the Daniel Wright Toastmasters Club here in Waukegan. And I'm running to expand our multicultural programs to include Juneteenth and Native American history. In addition, along with that, I also feel that it's an important in a diverse community such as Waukegan that we also listen to the needs of the community. So I will also welcome their input as well in terms of cultural programming. Secondly, I would like to increase our chronic prevention disease program. So more specifically, I'm a type 1 diabetic. That's an issue that's near and dear to my heart. And I truly understand that our community needs better education in that area. Lastly, I'm wanting to implement a bike rental program so all families throughout Waukegan can have access to our incredible parks and facilities. Again, I so appreciate this opportunity to be here this evening and look forward to answering all the questions that come from the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacqueline?
Yes, thank you to the Coalición de Latinos Unidos for providing the space to educate our voters. I really do believe that local elections matter. That's where we really feel the changes in our parks and our streets and the lights, whether they go on or not, right? So thank you, Karina, Carla, and Melanie for putting this together along with the team that helped organize it. My name is Jacqueline Herrera Giron, and I'm currently the Vice President of the Waukegan Park District Board of Commissioners, and I'm seeking re-election. Look, to me, this is a labor of love, right? I am a first generation Latina. I feel like I'm one of those lucky Latinas that was able to set foot in Waukegan. And when I set foot in Waukegan, I was 7 years old. I was reunited by my parents. And if you know, even just a little bit about the Civil War in El Salvador, that's the situation my parents ran away from. So for me to come to Waukegan and get reunited with them, and throughout my trajectory, I've had wonderful people and very hardworking parents that allowed me to get higher education, become an attorney. I taught in the schools of North Chicago as a bilingual teacher, and then went to law school at night. And I found myself giving back in Chicago where I was working because there was job opportunities there. And I thought to myself, why not give to my community, my home, right? Where the seed of giving back was planted at Most Blessed Trinity Church. My faith calls me to give. So this is why I look for volunteer opportunities like this one. But why am I running more specifically? I do believe that it's essential in a community like Waukegan, who has 60% of Latinos or more, to have representation of Latinos on every board, right? Diversity matters. Diversity matters because perspective matters. And when you have diversity and perspective, you have this, flow of ideas that are more wholesome and can provide what people need, right? I look forward to working with fellow commissioners to provide quality parks and spaces for our families, along with programs. But this is, to me, a labor of love.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you all for sharing. And we'll now be moving to the second portion, where we'll be asking informative questions to not only better understand the role as Park District Commissioner, but the role of the park in our community. So we'll start with Jackie. And your question, can you share with us a little bit about the structure of the Park District? How does it run, and what is the Park District's job in our community?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So the board is the body that decides how and reviews what the administrative body of the park district is doing, right? So the goal is to be financially responsible, fiscally responsible, to make sure that all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. Currently on our board, we have let's see, our president, which is Jeremiah. We have George Bridges and Janet Kelly and Mr. Mark Jones, who's leaving, and myself on the board. So it's a board of 5 people, right? We make decisions and they're made by majority if there's a quorum. We review all the expenses and plans for the park district. Currently, between 2021 and 2024, the park district is getting ready to develop their master plan. So we're asking the community for ideas about what that master plan is going to be. Once that master plan is created, then that plan goes into action. But community input matters a lot, because if the community says, I would like a pool, right? Then the park district will consider it and take that into account. Now, obviously, we have to have the funds for it, right? And the money comes from the city, because there's a portion that's allocated specifically for parks that come out of our taxes. So I always say that I'm not the one who decides, what our community needs. Our community has to decide what they want, and they have to let us know. If they let us know, then I'll be your advocate on that board to make it happen. Now, I myself alone can't make it happen because I need a quorum to do that, right? But in a nutshell, we're reviewing and approving what happens in the park district per input of the community and of the directors itself.
Thank you, Jackie. Now the next one is for Anton. What is the role of the Park District Board of Commissioners, and why is their role important to the community? Anton, you're muted.
Yeah, technology. Thank you for that question, Secretary Martinez. The role of the board, and this is a question that I hear all the time. What is the role of a Waukegan Park District Commissioner? It is as such. The role of the board is to work in collaboration with the executive director to create programs, be involved in the community, and also to be fiscal stewards of the district's finances. I feel that my background in being involved in the community, being raised in the community, positions me to earn a role on this board. I know together that we can continue the excellence of the Park District and be able to celebrate our diversity and celebrate our culture. It is so vital that all residents, no matter race or creed, have access to our outstanding parks and our facilities. So I look forward to the opportunity to working with the board as a collective to bring these awesome things to our very vibrant and diverse community. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Andy, your question is, what are some ways that community members can take part in the decision-making process of the Park District?
Sure. So the community input is a critical piece for the Park District, and a lot of the things that have already been said about the role of the commissioners is really to listen to the community, and they can advocate for what the community is asking for or what the community's needs are, but really the commissioner's role is to really be the voice for all of the different people in Waukegan, all people. We are blessed with an amazing, diverse, hardworking community. And I think it's challenging to sometimes reach everyone because everyone is doing such different things. And so I think through working with different community organizations and trying to get the input about the families within those organizations, even through the school system, and getting a gauge on what our youth are most interested in. You know, the STEAM program that's kind of coming out right now, that's so essential. Educational programming like that, that connects and ties right into students and achievement, and really forging a future, career goals for them, girls in coding, trying to sort of change that, close that gender gap between girls and professions like programming and technology. So I think listening to the community, working with all of the different community groups, and really I usually say listening far more than you're actually speaking, because what you're hearing for the commissioners is really what your role is to come back, work collaboratively as a board, and to really be able to provide important critical resources, facilities for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we'll have questions that each candidate will have the opportunity to answer, and we'll continue in the order of alphabetical by last name. So Jackie, you can get us started with the first question. Tell us about your history in Waukegan and how you have been involved in the community in the past. I know you briefly already touched on this, but if you want to share a little bit more about maybe how it relates particularly to the Park District.
Sure. So as to the Park District specifically, I was appointed as the commissioner, as the first Latina commissioner at the Waukegan Park District. In its 100 years of history, there had never been a Latino on the board. So I was appointed in 2018, and then I ran for office to keep that seat, and I won that seat in 2019. I'm seeking re-election now. In terms of like involvement in the community, so most of my career has been dedicated to public interest law, mostly in the practice of immigration law. If you know a little bit about my history, I started at the Public Defender's Office, where I created a program that would screen out immigrants so that they could be reviewed. I created a program also to help victims of crime at the Prairie State Legal Services. I was a former supervisor there. I used to work doing policy to create immigrant-friendly policies in the state of Illinois. And locally, I've been involved in several races politically because it's something that I love, and I do believe that it's part of exercising democracy. When you come from a country where human rights isn't really top-notch, right? Unfortunately, you realize the value in the vote, and you realize the value in organizing people and working with people. And I do believe that that's where the power is. So I worked with local organizations and on campaigns. I was appointed under Bob Sabanjan to be part of the Waukegan Public Library, and I was president for 2 terms. I also served as a commissioner of the Development Commission under Bob Sabanjan. And I volunteer. What I'm most proud of is being a foster parent. I see the huge need in these children, and the difficulty that they encounter every day. People say, oh, the child is so lucky. And I think to myself, I am so lucky. I learned so many things from 5 and 4-year-olds, and their resilience. They've taught me so much. I've also am a founder and first president of Zeta Sigma Chi sorority, which is a multicultural sorority that was started in 1990. So I continue to mentor women and uplift women so that they can achieve their education. I've been a volunteer since I can remember at my church. I always think I'm the daughter of St. Joseph Church, because it used to be St. Joseph and then Most Blessed Trinity Church. Father Gary, I mean, who hasn't heard of Father Gary? I talk, catechism. And if you guys are probably way too young, but I used to volunteer at St. Therese Hospital as a candy striper, helping there. So giving to community is me, right? It's what my parents taught me. It's in my faith. It's because it gives me joy to see that I can uplift someone and do good for them.
Thank you. And I got so into everybody's responses, I completely forgot to set the timer. So for this question, I
That's a
won't
good
time
thing.
it so that it's fair to everyone. I won't time this first question.
Sure.
And I think Anton, you're next.
Sure. Let me turn my microphone on. And shout out to Jackie for that reference to St. Therese. I was born at St. Therese Hospital, so hey, that's cool that you brought that up. But to dive right into it. So while at college in 2002, I was hit by a car, and having nearly lost my life, I came back here to Waukegan. And little did I know that that was the start of what will propel me to the point where I'm at now. And from that terrible tragedy, I came back here home to Waukegan, and I spent a lot of time in our parks. I spent a lot of time at Dugdale Park, at Belvedere Park. Well, it's Corinne Rose Park now, but back then it was Belvedere. And each and every park throughout this district. To me, the parks are so vital and such an important part of Waukegan and its rich history. I would just wander, just trying to learn, to connect, just to grow to nature and to the community. And from there, I started volunteering for Waukegan Main Street, which is a downtown nonprofit organization. From there, other opportunities soon thereafter started to present themselves. As I stated earlier before in my opening, I'm also a mentor for a group for young men ages 8 through 12, which was founded by another community leader who happens to be a really good friend of mine. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity, because that's what it's about. It's about giving back, talking to our youth, uplifting them, telling them about our great parks and our great city, and letting them know that they can be great. That's what this role is, in my opinion. It's about reaching out to our youth. Other volunteer opportunities, as I stated before, I'm the chairman of the CLC advisory board, which again, I feel is very critical, because now I am tapped into our young people, not from a younger age, but also as into a college age. And again, can continue to promote Waukegan and promote our great parks. So, my whole life has been involved in giving back. I don't do it for accolades. I don't do it for thank yous. I do it because it's my purpose. It's my passion. And I'm truly just blessed just to have the opportunity to be sitting here with all these individuals today, sharing just my belief and my passion about our awesome Waukegan Park District and about our great community. So once again, I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. And Andy?
Thanks. So I know I briefly mentioned the volunteer work that I've done in the community in my opening, so I won't go through that again, but I will build on the fact that I grew up spending my entire summers in our park district systems. And I think as a young boy, it really shaped and formed who I became throughout my life. It got me involved in the arts. It got me involved in sports. I was able to meet and make friends with other kids that didn't look like me or didn't sound like me or came from different cultural backgrounds. It kept me out of trouble. It taught me how to change the flat tire on my bike. It really kind of brought me into being kind of a responsible citizen as a teenager. I would go there and I would spend the entire day there, and when things would sort of start to shut down and I'd have to go home, I was always sort of really sad because I was having such a great time spending time in the parks, swimming in the pool all summer, eventually becoming a lifeguard so I could still continue to stay there when I needed to work as a teenager. But it's things like that that I think push all of us to want to give back and to continue that strength of what the park systems have to offer. So for me, then fast forwarding through my life and my work experience, my professional experience, I'm an artist in the community. I'm also heavily committed with health and fitness as a indoor cycling instructor and a triathlete. So like I'm so vested in all of those different facets of what the parks have to offer the community that I want to advocate for all of them, for everyone, so that the community continue to be strong and healthy and just continue to inspire. So I think the giving back part for me became really easy because I thought if I can contribute my passion from how it started in me to then bring in professional experience, to be an active member on a board that is really making the high level sort of decisions on policy and procedure. I think those are being guided by the Park District's vision and the mission, and the commissioners are following a strict code of ethics on how they're working together to really strive for the community. So I'm excited for the opportunity to, what I feel like is at this point in my life, to put all of those lifelong things together and to be able to give back in a really big way.
Thank you. Now our next question, 2 minutes, and I will remember to set the timer. What is your vision for the Park District? What are the top 3 things you would like to bring to the Waukegan Park District? And we can start with Jackie.
So the top 3 things would be to provide open space and quality programs for families and children, to also preserve history and conserve our nature, all while being fiscally responsible, right? I do also believe that programs that bring out the beauty and celebrate the uniqueness of our Waukegan is very important. Under my time at the Waukegan Park District, we have now bilingual programs that have started at my request, and at the very hard work of the Park District staff, I will say. They're very hardworking. Now, I would like to see more of that because I do think that, when I hear something like Loteria or Dia de los Muertos or Posadas, I can totally relate. And I go back to our demographics here in Waukegan and I hear 60% Latino. And to me, that's huge, right? It's about celebrating cultura and about really looking at what our community looks like and the beauty of our community and how do we highlight it in programs that involve families and children. To me, the Park District was a place where I would go out and play and have fun with my familia, I hang out at the pool for days. I could have sworn they were a babysitter because my mom worked at the health department. So literally we're like in between. So the parks bring great memories to me, and I hope that we can create wonderful memories for the families of Waukegan. And I want to hear from the families so that we are indeed providing what they want.
Thank you. Anton?
Thank you for the question, Secretary Martinez. So kind of as stated before, I went through my top priorities, but I'm excited to share those again. And I will also expand just a little bit further as well. So my top 3 initiatives, if elected to the Waukegan Park District Board, would be expanding multicultural programs to include Juneteenth and Native American history. Also, in addition to that, I would also like to see the Park District potentially partner for the Fiestas Patrias parade that runs through downtown Waukegan. I know the Park District is starting to expand its imprint in downtown, in particular with the opening of the Carnegie Museum that is due here pretty shortly. So I think that would be really awesome, again, if the Park District is able to expand its footprint in the downtown area. Secondly is expanding, or I should say increasing chronic prevention awareness programs. And here's what I mean by that. And I know I mentioned earlier that I am a type 1 diabetic. So again, that's an issue that's near and dear to my heart. I would love to see us partner with local hospitals such as Vista, Oak Street Health to be able to provide health screenings, blood pressure screenings, more education about diabetes and diabetic awareness. I think it's important. I think that there is a correlation between the African American community and the Latino community and some of these issues in regards to high blood pressure and diabetes. Lastly, implement a bike rental program to ensure that all Waukegan families, no matter race or creed, have access to our award-winning parks and facilities. So if elected, these are the ideas that I would like to present to our board and be able to work together to help move our community forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy?
Thanks. So I'll start by saying that our lakefront in Waukegan is a jewel. And it's one of the things that I look at Waukegan and one of the resources, the natural resources that it has, and it is amazing. I spend so much time down there all times of the year, whether I'm kayaking or I'm swimming or biking or running down there. It is fantastic. But I think the city has really failed Waukegan on making the lakefront a place that people really love to go, and there are modern amenities. You know, there's no running water or flushing toilets down at the lakefront. And when I look at the success of the Park District and how successful they have been in managing their parks and their facilities and upgrading them and updating them to modern specifications, I would love to see a strong partnership with the Park District in the city in regard specifically to the lakefront. And I'll say that as much as the lakefront is near and dear to my heart, I am speaking about the lakefront on behalf of the many, many people in the community who have echoed the same sentiment with me about the lakefront and how it has been such a missed opportunity for the city. And because we have such a successful Park District system that is award-winning, get them involved in creating some modernized amenities. And I say that in a way to not make it sound like I want the lakefront developed. I don't. I want to preserve the natural beauty, but I would like there to be running water and flushing toilets and the ability for a family to spend the day down at the beaches and not feel like they're sort of stuck without any sort of comforts. Educational programs, STEAM, I mentioned that already, so important, especially as a technologist. It's really critical that we get those programs strong and heavy. And then I can't go without saying, with my connections to art and how they impact social emotional wellness for children and adults, to really continue strong art program. The arts are not dying, they are thriving. We just need to invest in them and make sure that our families are getting access to art programming.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Second question, or I guess we're at the third question. We are seeing waves of new residents coming to Waukegan, some moving from the city of Chicago and some recently arrived from outside the country. What are some ways we can strengthen outreach to engage newcomers to some of the programs and facilities the Park District offers? Jackie, you can start.
Yeah, so, all my life I've dedicated to working with refugees and immigrants because I myself am an immigrant. Um, and so, you know, welcoming the stranger and welcoming people into our town, into our home has been a theme in my life. So I honestly have been thinking and talking to the folks at the Park District about implementing a program. I think that they had already even started to work on, which some of you may be familiar of. It's like promotoras, ambassadors of the Waukegan Park District, to go out into the community and be able to provide them information about what the Park District is and how it works and the programs that it offers on a more personalized basis. Because I do think that Waukegan is filled with hardworking families. And a lot of the times there may not be the time or the luxury to go searching for things, right? And yes, we get, you know, our beautiful brochure with information, and now it's a beautiful brochure that's bilingual. So it eliminates some language barriers. But I also think that there is no substitute for word of mouth, right? There's no substitute for selling something where you can speak about it because you personally used it. So I can tell you, I've had great memories of the Park District in the pool, in, you know, looking for eggs in the field and stuff like that. And I think a program like ambassadors that would go out into the community and talk it up about their own experience could really welcome anybody that wants to use the Park District, really.
Thank you. Anton?
Thank you for that question. Just a couple of ways that I think that we'll kind of be able to go to the community and listen to them and really get open and honest feedback. I think our diversity is a strength of Waukegan that needs to certainly be celebrated and to be embraced. And just a couple of ideas just offhand I thought of was listening tours. I think it's important that each and every commissioner gets out in the community and listen to the needs. Whether that's attending various events around the community, or even take a Saturday afternoon and just knock on a few doors, maybe in your neighborhood or a different neighborhood throughout the city, and just talk to people. The best way that we'll be able to find out information in regards to what is needed is by putting ourselves out there and listening. I think that's so critical. Also, in addition to that, as I stated, attending community events, whenever, that starts to happen again, once we get past this COVID-19 pandemic. But, again, we have to meet people where they're at. I did a search, and last I brought up was that Waukegan had over 70 languages right here in the city, and quite possibly might even be more than that. That's a bit older when I did that search. So I say that to say that Waukegan is a melting pot. That there's people from all different languages in all different countries, and not all the times that they're able to read the brochure and be able to understand everything because it might not be in their language. So that's why I think listening tours is so important. And lastly, I would like to hit on is to potentially partner with the school district to issue some sort of survey. I feel that the school district, for the most part, is in tune with the parents. And I think that's a natural kind of partnership to be able to kind of push forward, to be able to collaborate, to be able to reach our kids and to reach families. So I think those are just three ideas that I think, we'll be able to kind of be able to get a better feel for what's going on in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy?
Sure, thanks. Anton, you said it so well. The commissioners are the ears, and they kind of have to be out there listening to the community. I think having a diverse board also helps that, because the commissioners all have different connections to different community groups. I think I'm going to put a little bit of a different spin on the diversity expanding and coming into Waukegan and talk about the LGBTQ plus community, which I am part of. We are one of the fastest, largest growing populations in Waukegan. And the LGBTQ plus community crosses all race, gender, creed categories. And so I think also having programming that is viewed as being safe space, is viewed as being inclusive, and as viewed as being accessible to really all families. We're starting to see that one family looks completely different than another, but we are all a big, important part of the community here in Waukegan. And as we continue to be a community that celebrates our diversity, we have to really start to look at and pay attention to the fast growing numbers of the LGBTQ plus community in Waukegan. And I am honored to say that as someone who is connected very closely to that community and part of it, I would be able to really tap in on what that community really looks for and wants in feeling safe and inclusive in Park District programming. Thanks.
Thank you. Now for the next question. The digital divide has always had an influence in the engagement and accessibility of our families, but during the pandemic, this has only made all the more evident. What are some of the ways the Park District can help address the digital divide through programming, and what are your plans for ensuring effective outreach is being done to engage those families that might not have social media or access to the internet to learn about these programs? Jackie, if you can start us off.
Yes. So, oh, sorry. I realized the camera. So I think like a program like the ambassadors would be key, because it would go out to families and kind of learn where families are at, right? And a partnership. I think that, the Park District is really good at what they do right now. I mean, they've won national awards in the work that they do. And I think, Andy or Anton mentioned that we do it fiscally responsible, right? So in that line of thought, partnering up with organizations like the school district, right, that is already trying to close that gap for those that don't have technology, but also having someone that goes out into your community and is able to tell you, like, how do you sign up for this thing, right? And I do believe that the Park District currently has things online, but you can also walk into the field house and sign up for something. You don't necessarily need a computer. So they do have those avenues. Partnering up with local nonprofits. So, and I think like organizations like ASES, Catholic Charities, Mano a Mano, that already work with community. I think it's called, there's an organization downtown that I can't even think of right now, but there's so many organizations and creating those partnerships and those bridges so that we can reach out to families is really important. Like the township has so many roots in the community and is already well respected, right? So making sure that we find those organizations that have, those the tap or the pulse of the community and really bringing them in is what I would suggest.
Thank you. Anton?
Thank you. Kind of one word that you're going to hear here this evening that I kind of hear echoed by everyone else is partnerships. And to be honest with you, partnerships is key to help moving our community forward together. And partnerships specifically, and Karina, you probably will appreciate this, with the Waukegan Public Library. The Waukegan Public Library offers courses on anything from language to also learning how to even use a computer. So I think it makes sense partnering with the library. And I know that that exists to a degree because there is a facility right there inside of the Waukegan Fieldhouse. But then, again, I kind of circle back to making sure that everyone feels welcome to come to the Fieldhouse. I know a lot of times that, and I've heard this from various residents that, they don't feel welcomed or that they feel, not that they're supposed to be at the field house. So I do think that that is an issue, and that that is something that we do need to address and make sure that we're warm and welcoming to all families to our field house. In addition, kind of Jackie hit on it, partnering with community groups. The downtown organization that she was thinking of was UMA. UMA is an organization that does a lot here for our community, offer GED classes, language classes, kind of things of that nature. So that's another organization, as well as Heart of the City. That's another downtown nonprofit to also be able to partner with as well, that reaches a multitude of Waukegan families. And lastly, thank you, Karina. Lastly is partnering with our city, right? I mean, the city has, probably the most resources out of all the organizations here. And so it naturally, this makes sense to be able to kind of partner with the city in those efforts as well. So those are three ideas that I'd like to kind of see us move forward with to be able to move our community forward together. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy?
So I think everything that both Anton and Jacqueline said are so true about partnerships. I think even in some of the companies, the large corporations that surround us, to kind of like branch out even a little bit further from what was said, there are so many opportunities to partner with some corporations, whether it's CDW or some of even a company like that supplies technology resources. I think there are grants available. I think that's one of the definite benefits with the Park District system is they have access to maybe more grant opportunities than maybe the city might. But I think is exploring all of those different avenues to really try to pull together as many resources to help kind of broaden that digital divide. I think having places for families to come who might not have technology resources accessible to them, again, like the library, maybe even setting up satellite locations, and then making sure that the support for them is equipped to be able to communicate easily and well with them. So there isn't then another barrier of maybe language. So I think really partnerships, scholarships, local organizations, corporations, community-based groups that are starting to now pop up in ways that they are out there to support people would be a great avenue to go to really try to be able to connect to those families who are having challenges with the digital divide, certainly the school system for sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I know we're over, so we will go right into our Facebook Live questions. And for the sake of time, we'll limit to 1 minute. And this will be open to whoever wants to answer it. So I'll get started. We have a few here. First, what types of programming would you bring to the Park District? I think we already talked about this a lot. So if anybody else has anything they would like to add, you can go ahead and unmute your mic.
I was going to also mention social emotional wellness. I think, and thinking about like what we have all just made it through, hopefully, with the pandemic, and what it's caused for our families in so many different ways, whether it's a family who is still struggling with loss, whether it's family who is struggling with financial devastation, whether it's depression, anxiety, finding ways to provide social emotional wellness opportunities, and for kids, building confidence, creating trusting relationships, relieving stress, help with grief, ways that we can really kind of hone in on some of the really serious mental health issues that are now starting to creep up on us from the pandemic. So that would be one area that I would throw out.
That's a great point. Thank you so much. Our second question here is, what types of community forums will the Waukegan Park District host to find out what the community would like in the Park District? So if anybody would like to add or has, go ahead and unmute your mic.
So
Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Ladies first.
sorry. Sorry. So currently there is a survey that's been opened by the Waukegan Park District to get input from the public in order to develop that master plan that's going to go in place for the next 4 years. Now, are they going to be conducting forums? I think given COVID and the current situation, it might be a little difficult. I don't know if there's plans to do more outreach, but I would assume that there is, just given the way that the staff has worked in the past. But honestly, I would say pay attention to that survey, fill it out. Please fill it out. Give us your input. Tell us what you want, right? I always tell people, yeah, I'm a Latina and I could bring the Latina and the immigrant perspective, but I can't speak for all, right? We need people to come and provide their ideas. Perspective is key. It allows the opportunity to look through a lens and people to offer these solutions that, you and I may not have thought of. So I think everybody in the community, please bring your ideas forward. Without that, we only have, what we have at the table, right? So it's key and very important. Sorry, Anton, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Definitely all good. I just want to just real quickly just shoot in after that and say, now here's where technology could be our friend. We have now this technology with Zoom to where now, people don't even have to leave the comfort of their homes. So I would like to, or I should say, I think that it's a possibility to be able to use this technology, be able to, again, go out in the community and listen, and we'll be able to tailor the Zooms to whatever particular language that the community speaks. So for example, one day it could be, Hispanic, one day it could be another language, another day it could be another language. So I think that that's an opportunity where technology could be our friend. And since, we're all Zooming anyway, I think we should be able to expand upon that and be able to offer that to the community as well, to be able to share their ideas.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that too quickly. I think it's ironic that we just talked about the digital divide, and now this question is about using technology, but I mean, that's the divide. There's also a big portion of the population that is well connected, and this past year has brought a lot of people up to speed who weren't ever up to speed. We all have family members who never ever did any sort of a Zoom call, and now they're having calls weekly. But that could be a really great added venue of commissioner office hours, and it's digital, and so there are different time periods that commissioners are available with office hours to listen. And community members can connect to the Zoom link and provide feedback. Now, obviously, it's more of a listening exercise, but community members could be more prone to connect with different commissioners' office hours based on who they feel they have a connection with. So those are some really great ideas that we could use technology. People could be in the comfort of their own home, and they can connect and give feedback.
Thank you. And here we have another one. The parks play a crucial role in the development of children. What type of programs would you implement that would give children the opportunity to grow in a safe environment?
I think that, a lot of the programs that would provide, like eating healthy, moving your body, staying healthy, swimming. I mean, we have basketball, we have swimming, we have all the sports and many activities that people can enjoy, soccer. I think these activities contribute to the development of children. um, as I grow older and, I face health concerns, I think about the importance of being healthy and also eating well, right? I think that, throughout life, I've tried to adapt these healthy eating habits and everything, but why not start early, right? Why not teach our community, especially a community that's hardworking and that sometimes they don't have the luxury to do that, right? So how do we adapt programs that fit the needs of our community and also understand the community and where they are at, right? I look at North Chicago and all these food deserts, right? So programs that understand the community and can provide ways to eat healthy, live healthy, be active in our own environment, because I also think of, the environmental health issues that come with living in Waukegan and, you know, ETO and the lakefront, right? The carbon companies and all that. The other day I bumped into data of asthmatic children, like what do they need? So again, I think it's this understanding of like our community and what our community needs, and how do we work around that and offer programs so that kids stayed healthy in spite of that.
Thank you. And so this one's similar, but do you feel that the Park District can play a role in preventing bullying? And if so, what services can be developed?
So I think anybody should play a role in bullying, right? Not accepted. And sure, the Park District can offer programs like that. And I think that anybody and everybody, I mean, this is a topic that, everybody can speak about it, and speak about it in a way that it doesn't happen and that it's not allowed in our communities. If you're young or if you're old, right? Because I've seen it in every way. So absolutely, a program that educates what it is and what it looks like and how it's not accepted, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that the social emotional wellness piece again, I mean, that's all kind of connected to that, and really working with youth early on during those stages when they are in so much turmoil about their own growth, to be kind and to be kind with others and to say nice things, and to really work with our young adults to stick up for each other and do the right thing and feel empowered by doing that. And I think, and Anton, you work with youth, you probably see that all the time, that once a child, once a young adult can start to feel empowered by a positive behavior, that then just spirals into positivity throughout the rest of their life and who they are and how they impact others. And so sometimes it's just sparking that thing that finally inspires them enough to really do the right thing.
And then I'll just, I'm sorry, Andy, were you?
Yeah, no.
Okay, okay. Just to quickly add on to that, I think also just posting positive kind of affirmations in our different facilities throughout the Park District in regards to bullying, even I think doing something as simple as that, I think can go a long way. So I absolutely do think that there is a role for the Park District to be able to assist in that.
Thank you. Okay, last question. What would the Park District's role be in if we were able to set up a municipal broadband?
Okay. Well, just offhand, we have the field house, which is probably, one of the biggest facilities and structures, not only in the district but probably in Waukegan. So I think that's an excellent opportunity to be able to again partner with the city to be able to offer that to our residents, seeing how or even if we're still, I gotta think COVID wise. We can also even go to a park to have this done as well. So I think it's just about being creative, thinking outside the box. The Park District do have the facilities, we do have the space, to be able to have the capacity to do that. It's just a matter of partnering with the city or the library or whatever community partners is one kind of step forward and just getting it done basically. So I do think that that is an opportunity.
Thank you.
I was just going to add that I think a real critical piece to a commissioner's role is to really be dialed in on innovation and creativity and really collaboration, so that questions like that, people can pull their heads together, think outside the box, and really come up with a successful solution for Waukegan.
Yeah, I think this is, when I say like knowing your community matters, right? So knowing what our community needs, and if this is something our community needs and would uplift our communities, why not work in partnership and look for those key partners so to create innovative solutions for our citizens?
Thank you. All right. Well, I think that concludes tonight's program. Thank you to all the candidates and everyone watching us from home for your questions. Now, Carla, if you can close us off.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you for doing such an excellent job facilitating this forum. A big thank you to our programming committee again for recognizing the need of this program and spearheading the efforts. Thank you to our candidates for participating and also for your patience as we navigated through some minor technology issues. On behalf of La Coalición de Latinos Unidos de Lake County, we would like to thank you for joining us all. And we hope to see you next Tuesday, March 30th at 6:30 p.m. for our mayoral candidate forum for the city of Waukegan. So hope you guys can join. Please look at our Facebook. Again, it will be via Facebook Live. So we look forward to having you join us then.